Yo, what's up guys? It's Xeyo here. We're here to make a tier list that matters the most, and that's the fun tier list. And I'm here with, you know what, you can introduce yourself.
Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Jared. I make competitive content, but I also like making budget-friendly content and some fun decks too on the side. So nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
And this is gonna be, you know, all facts-based, no opinions on this tier list, guys. So we're just gonna get right into it. You know, no one's gonna get hurt on this list, right? So let's start with one of the most popular decks probably of all time, I think, and that's good old Branded here. So I'll let you start off. What do you think so far on this guy?
All right, so Branded's actually super interesting to start off with because it's been around for so long and has so many versions of it now. So I don't know how you want to do this. I'm gonna let you make the final decision, but I think current Branded is very boring because it just puppet locks.
Ooh.
I think pre-puppet lock Branded is very fun when you're actually making a board and you're not just FTKing. If you want to make the final decision of where you want to go with that, I'm okay with that, but I think an A to B somewhere in that range is appropriate.
I agree with you. Gimmick puppet lock is that's so sleeper to me. Like if I play Branded, I'm not gonna do that because I'm too lazy to like get the card in the first place because I still don't own it even after the reprint. But there's just like so many other things you could do. And I'm just like, bro, I'm not trying to end on a gimmick puppet. I'm trying to end on like my Starlight Mirajade, you know, and my Starlight Granganol. So
nice interruptions.
Yeah. So for me, I think it's like it's A to S for me, but I can see where you're saying where you're like, oh, it's just gimmick puppet. You know, that's all they're gonna do game 1 and
if
game 3.
If we're saying no puppet, I'm okay with S. If it's no puppet, I'm fine with S. It's just puppet drags it down for me so much.
That I think I would want to say S then, because like it's not even a Branded card that that's like making it bad.
There's a lot of cool moving parts. I think that's going to be a pretty consistent factor for today's video, is things that move around and are very cool and do a lot of different things. That's going to be it mostly, I feel.
I like it because like that deck is like you never know like what's gonna happen next, because like there's so many different things that you could do and there's so many things you could mess up, which is like so funny sometimes to watch. All right, I think next one here we have good old Ghoti.
Ooh, Ghoti. I have played so much more Ghoti than I thought I ever would have in recent times. Yeah. Ghoti, I think strong A. I think Ghoti is a strong A. I don't know if you have any experience with the Ghoti archetype. It is very unique of playing on your opponent's turn, and a level 12 synchro, or level 10 synchro, I'm sorry, that banishes the entire board is very fun. And when everything's an SP Little Knight coming back, it is hilarious.
Okay, I haven't played it, but I played against it. I think it's pretty cool though, because it's not those typical like, you know, make 5 negates and then negate 5 things. It's kind of just like,
no, absolutely
it's
not.
like do I do it yet? Do I go now?
For over 20 years playing the game, I've never played a deck like Ghoti in my life. It's so unique. It's just a unique experience.
Good old Chimera though. Some might say worse Branded, but I don't know. Okay, I like, so on one hand, when I don't want to think, I'm like, okay, I'll play Chimera Branded. But on the other hand, I'm like, there's so many better things I can do with just Branded than to play Chimera.
Right, I agree with that. I know where I want to put it just because I've played it, and the problem with it is that it's very repetitive. You're going to do the same thing over and over and over again until you win. So that is my take on it. Where do you want to put Chimera? I'm curious.
To be honest, it's like there's like only so many, like there's a lot of like linear decks on this list, right? But like in the case of Chimera, there's like so little like choices, and like because like you're always gonna do like the same exact thing. I think it's B. It could be C. I don't know how you feel about it.
I am a definitely, for me personally, I was a C person, but I'm okay with B, just because you can mix it with a couple things. I played it with Runick. It was fun in that deck. Made a whole new interactions, which was fun. So I'll give it a B. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt of B.
Yeah, but like that feels like the Runick cards then, man, not the Chimera card. I think I can go with that, bro. I think I can go with that. You're just trying to get to freaking, what is his name? Sword Knight? You're literally just trying to get to Sword Knight every time. Let's go with the Blast in the Past. A little bit of Cyber Dragon action. Now,
I'm not gonna lie, I saw this on the list and I was so confused. I'm like, this is such an old deck for this one.
So the reason I have this is I guess because like at my locals we have like the legendary Cyber Dragon guy, Kyle Lewis. Okay, so it's like he's like been playing Cyber Dragon, and like he's always like featured like a deck list on like Agents Persuasion's channel like for years now. So he's just like everyone knows him as a Cyber Dragon guy, and so because of that, my locals always just randomly has a bunch of Cyber Dragon people. They'd be like first time here, and they're playing Cyber Dragon, and it's like. So it's always there. It's always there, but. I could leave this one off because Cyber Dragon it's so unfortunate because like I think a deck like this is fun with like a lot of the broken cards, kind of like Verte, but in a format with like Verte is like it's still a Master Duo. I think Cyber Dragon is like fun in Master Duo, which is kind of weird to me. But I guess like for like a Ghost second deck, I think Ghost second decks are kind of like a little bit more fun to play because like you're watching like their opponent build a board or whatever, and like trying to see can I kill them from here. So I think I agree. So I think from here it's like it's either A or B. I'm kind of leaning towards B because Cyber Dragon is. At the end of the day, still Cyber Dragon. So I
feel
don't know.
Like you always are kind of going for the same thing, like I think it's the level 5 fusion that dumps from the deck and gains extra attacks if I remember correctly.
That's like Rampage Dragon.
So besides that, going second and OTKing and breaking a board is so fun, and it feels so satisfying when you do it. So I definitely don't want to put it in C. I think B is appropriate. For me at least, I could see it being a nice B tier here.
Yeah. Okay, I can see it too. Yeah, the Cyber Dragon has not been the same since Master Rule 5, man. You remember that when you had to have a Link Monster?
Dude, so I was a Burning Abyss player at the time. You don't gotta tell me. I was struggling.
The next deck, one of the most controversial decks of all time. A little bit of bird action, Floowandereeze. Nah, I'm a Flunder defender, so I'll let you go first.
Okay. I was not expecting this. This is actually a pleasant surprise. So I feel, honestly, that Flu without Shifter and Flu with Shifter are two very different decks. I think Flu without Shifter is actually pretty skillful and pretty fun to play. Flu with Shifter is just you're playing Solitaire, which is not fun. But because of Shifter ruining it, and every Flu deck is playing Shifter, I feel obligated to say B. If Shifter was not a staple in the deck, I would absolutely say A. That's just my take on it. That's my take. Oh, there's gonna be a lot of Flu haters. I'm just saying, I am, and I don't want to say I'm an avid Flu defender. I'm just a Shifter hater.
So so I kind of like compare this with like Chimera because like Chimera always wants Sword Knight, Flu always wants Robina or whatever, right? Yeah. But Flunder doesn't actually need Robina to be able to do stuff. There's different ways and different things you can do. Okay, there's always a right play and there's always the wrong play. Okay, and so that's why I think Flunder is like kind of nice and kind of fun, but at the same time I can see it going lower because also it bricks quite a bit. There's another floodgate, right? There's like Featherstorm, I think, right?
Yes, Featherstorm's another one. That's just another annoying one. It's sad that like every toxic card fits into this deck, but it is what it is, I guess.
What do you mean? That's the fun part, bro. When you can play and your opponent can't play.
That's the ultimate Yu-Gi-Oh dream.
Okay, I didn't realize this, but we have like the 3 shifter decks right next to each other.
But there ain't nothing in here getting above A with Shifter in the main deck.
I see you're a Shifter hater, all right? So Exosister has been, so I actually played this like on release when it was like super bad.
That's funny, I also did.
Oh, you did too?
It's pretty linear in what it does of make rank 4 leads to a second rank 4 Martha search, and then pretty much go deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
It's probably more on like the boring side to me, like maybe even a chore. It's like it's always gonna do the same thing. I guess I think my problem with this deck is there's little room to like counterplay someone when you're playing Exosister, because like all these other decks, they're like you could do chain blocking, you can like have this thing to beat like this thing, but like this deck is just get rid of my monsters, I just lose. and I have like no follow up.
Where do you want to put it before I say where I want to put it?
Yeah, I love Exosister. It's B or C, man.
You can love a deck. I have no hate for loving the deck here. I got no problem with that.
Dude, am I boring? Am I a boring person? I think it's somewhere down here.
It is okay if we disagree too. I am a believer. I am a believer of chore. I believe Exosister is some chore tier for me. At least Flu has some moving parts, you know. You can chain block and do cute stuff and change up your plays a little bit. Exosister, you're kind of sticking to one thing.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that held this deck back was the fact that Martha says you can't even special summon anything else to turn you activated. I think that's the only thing that held it back, man. I think there's so many cool things you could have done. All right. The third shifter deck, or no, fourth, I guess, if you count Ghoti. Good old Kashtira. Did you ever play this pure when it was like full power?
Very briefly. I played it, and have you ever played a deck? Everyone else plays it. They seem to draw the nuts constantly. Then you play it, and you just draw like butt cheeks constantly. That's how I felt playing Kashtira. Like my hands looked whack all the time, and I'm like, this is terrible. I never drew unicorn, but after watching so much Kashtira, I did get a new appreciation for it and seeing people outplay and.
Yeah, but hey, Arise Heart was a hero, man. Those videos are so funny. Everyone's like, he held back the things we didn't want to see. I played this like only once full power, and when I made like a Rise Heart, I think it got like triple tack stolen and then I died. So that's my experience with the deck. My favorite, my small favoritism to Kashtira is only because of Fenrir. I don't think I actually like the Kashtira deck, to be honest.
That's fair. I think Fenrir is a very, I don't want to say like well designed because it is very strong, but it is like a definitely like cool design card, if that makes sense.
But I do think the Kashtira decks can be cool though.
Yeah, it's been going through a lot of iterations, which is very, like it's very, like when decks do that, I think that's like very exciting and fun for the people who play them. So yeah, I think it's definitely more exciting than Exosister. It's had more development than that deck for.
I would be okay with B.
I agree. I think B is exactly where I would want it. The deck's gone through development and changes. I don't know if you're doing this in a way where you want to do like even in the tier specifically. Like
order
one above the other one. Yeah, I don't know if you cared about that or not.
We can do order. How do you feel about the order?
I think Cash is at the top of that list, followed by Flu, followed by Cyber Dragon.
Okay. Yeah, it's somewhere like that for me too. It's kind of hard to tell what it is. You know what this is?
That is Big Gabunga, bro.
Okay.
I know Gabunga.
I was just worried because he looks a little weird when he's small like that.
I know him. Don't worry. I play my Goblin Bikers or Riders, whatever they're called now.
So I played this 2 days ago, so I have fresh experience on the deck. My first thoughts, as of right now, before like any extra support, I think it's only B, but that's just for me.
So when I played it, actually, it was funny when I made the deck. I watched your video to help me play the deck. Funny enough, the deck itself, I think it falls in that kind of. It's similar to the Exosister problem, but it's definitely better than Exosister in like variety wise, because there's like no restrictions in the deck. You just do whatever you want, and that leads to a lot more fun stuff that you can do. So I'm okay with like, to be honest, I'm okay with like top of B. I think this deck is still more to be discovered for the future.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm trying to think of like mostly the Goblin cards, where to place it, because like right now the main deck monsters are a little lacking in my opinion. Like the spells are good, and like just Gabunga. I don't think the other one's that good.
Yes, I agree. It's funny, like out of all the Goblin cards, I've noticed that only, I would argue, like 4 of them are like strong cards in like a YuGiOh sense, competitive YuGiOh sense. The rest of them just seem like not it. Yeah. And no restrictions. Has a lot going for it. Yes, no restrictions too, which makes it a lot going for it.
There's a lot of potential. This could potentially go up. Next up on the list is the good old Orcust. So this made a comeback.
So are we doing this by new Orcust or old Orcust? I'm curious.
Probably just new.
For doing new, this could probably be honestly A, just because the power of dark extra deck monsters in the current format are extremely strong. And I'm specifically speaking of SP Little Knight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm okay with A. I think A is a strong place for Orcust. I think like when you get behind it, it's just fun doing, especially when you get Babel out too. I think Babel's a really fun card. Turning your cards into quick effects is just a fun experience. Imagine doing that with other decks. Just having a card that makes everything a quick effect. That's so cool.
Yeah, it sounds familiar, like a field spell that does that on and then lets you play it on your opponent's turn. Well, we'll talk about that later though. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Orcust is like, I like it because part of it is like if a deck has follow-up, because I'm not trying to just like make a board and then if it gets broken I just lose. I can't do anything else. Orcust always feels like you can do something, which I like about it. which I guess
I agree.
and that's held by like a bunch, yeah, like you said, a bunch of the new dark cards, like Horus is out now too. So I'd agree with A. But do you think it's better than Ghoti?
Oh, I think it's more fun than Ghoti. Did I have more fun playing Orcust or Ghoti? Now I gotta think of like personal preference, right? I think I had more fun with Ghoti just because Ghoti felt. There's like no, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think any competitive people were looking at Ghoti. Figuring it out like a puzzle was really fun to me. So I think just the deck building process in general for Ghoti was more enjoyable than Orcust because that deck's already kind of figured out. You can just kind of copy paste some of the stuff. I think I'm okay with Ghoti with staying on top. I might get hate for that, but.
Okay, this is one of the first fire decks on the list here, and I guess we could talk about Fire Kings in general, but like not like the full like Fire King Snake Eye deck. Yeah, like mostly like a Fire King part. I tried like Tri-Brigade Fire King when like the structure deck first came out. I think Fire King is pretty fun, to be honest with you. It was a lot of I guess it's kind of like playing on both turns, if that makes sense. But I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain how it felt, but it was just like it was different than all the other decks.
I agree with you. I think this deck's really fun. But you said Fire King Tri-Brigade. You were right on the money with that. That was what I leaned towards too when it came out. It was really cool. Yeah, it's just a really fun deck. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, a lot of moving pieces that we talked about in the beginning. This is a perfect example of a deck that has a lot of moving pieces in that regard. I'm fine with A. I think this is an A deck. Old Fire King, when a first structure deck, garbage. Like previous Fire King, that deck was boring as butt. Current Fire King, gas. This is straight gas.
Okay, I can see it. I can see it. Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool. It's a pretty cool engine, I guess, because it's not being used as a deck.
Yes.
All right, now let's talk about another fire deck, although not nearly as strong as the other ones. Good old Salamangreat. So I haven't had experience with Salamangreat as much. Like I played against it a bunch. Salamangreat to me, it felt like the other Cyber decks, like Exosister and like Marincess. I didn't have too good of a time with those decks.
Like I said, I played Salad and Toss too. Back a little bit before, and the playstyle unfortunately has not changed from what it was back then, but we did get new cards because we're in Year of the Fire, and Princess makes this deck a lot more fun in my opinion. There's a lot more lines and combos, especially Blazing Phoenix 2. Where would you think that this should go? I'm curious.
I think it's somewhere in B for me.
I agree. I agree with B. Sadly, I love this deck. I won a prize card with this deck, but I understand that this deck was not the most fun while playing it.
I don't know, man. Something about those Cyber decks that end on just like one Link Monster, man. I don't know. They all kind of like felt the same to me. I don't know, man.
It's definitely more boring. Man, am I gonna say I like Flu more than Salad? Am I really thinking about that? Dude, you putting me on the spot right now. This is strictly in the driver's wheel of the deck, right?
Yeah.
No, I have to say I like Salad more than Flu. I can't do that to myself. I'll beat myself up over that tomorrow if I say that I chose Flu more than Salad. I would put it in front of it, but if this is your video, if you want to put it behind Flu, I'm not saying nothing. Just suck it over, dude.
All right, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that for now. Now we have a little someone special dear to you, right?
Listen, I don't want to rant. I'm just gonna say S. I'm not gonna rant. I'm a strong S believer in this one.
Okay.
I could rant about this for a long time and defend this to the day I die. I love Runick so much as a deck.
I think the only thing that like puts me off of Runick is like I like Battle Phase. I think that's probably the only thing. But yeah, I could definitely see it because like drawing like Runick cards never feels like bad. You can always do stuff.
If I was to, I guess, put it into a like, there's two major points I think that I would say about Runick. One, the battle phase thing that you mentioned. I think when you don't have a battle phase, you play in such a unique way and find creative ways to deal with boards that it makes it a lot more enjoyable. That's the first thing. The second thing is Runick is so generic and splashable with so many different decks. I feel like there was a time for like 3 years where I feel like I could splash Runick into anything and it would just work perfectly fine and I could compete with it and do well.
I think it's a valid S deck.
Playing against it, I know it's frustrating. I know it can be really annoying, but I'm telling you, when you're behind the wheel of that deck, you feel like top G energy playing that deck, dude.
Okay, another talk of the town, Labrynth. I'm surprised this deck did not see any representation at Vegas, right?
No, yeah, the Labrynth unfortunately did get pretty waxed in the past couple events. I don't even think any did well at Costa Rica either. Yeah, it's like, I mean, that's competitive wise, but we're talking fun here. We're talking the funness of behind the wheel. So how you feeling about Lab? How about some furniture?
I do think the furnitures add a lot to like how a trap deck would play. Old Lab was annoying and not fun because like I think people were playing like skill drains and all that, like floodgates in the old versions. But now it's like you're playing a lot of monsters now. It's so funny the evolution of this deck. Everyone was like, let's just play good trap cards, and now it's like, but the furnitures.
Someone finally read all the furniture cards from Tactical Masters. They're like, damn, these cards kind of slap.
Yeah. Yeah.
I personally, I'm a believer in A. I think this deck is more fun than, if I'm being honest, I really like the way Lab plays. It's extremely fun. I would even argue playing this above Ghoti, to be honest. I think that level of fun to me.
I kind of agree with you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see this placement. It's definitely better than to just set 5 pass.
Definitely 100%.
All right, then the next deck here. This is one of my new favorites out of the recent year. So I don't know about you. So I'm gonna start off on a little bit of this one. I actually
go ahead, pop off right now.
I really like this deck. The big part of me liking this deck is the deck just says, I want to ritual summon. I don't care how you get there. And once you establish your board, it's not like negate every single thing that comes out. You actually have to think about what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree. It's I think obviously the linear lines with just low is obviously that can get boring, right? I would understand that. But I think in complicated game states where you start doing cool ritual stuff that I don't think is talked a lot about with this deck, especially the trap card. I think that card has a lot of cool skill expression. It makes this deck a lot more fun.
All right. This next one though. So I don't really know if you can call this a deck, I guess, because it's always used like an engine. People have put it in the name of the deck, so I would consider it as something of its own deck in a way.
So is this like Bystial Control, Dragon Link? Where are we leaning towards with this one?
I think probably something like Bystial Control.
Have you played? Oh, okay. I see Tracer is later, so I'll keep this at Bystial Control. Have you played much of this deck? I'm curious.
I'm like one of Bystial's like biggest defenders because I'm always trying to use Bystials in everything. Every time I'm trying to build a new deck, I'm like, I see light and darks. Can I put Bystials in this? I don't know. For me, it's just it's like so fun when my, I guess not in every case, especially right now, but when my hand traps, aka the Bystials, are like also like engine to like do stuff with, and I guess just like the fact that like once you get set up with your Bystial stuff, you're always playing, you can always do something, you don't feel helpless, but I guess just getting there I guess is like the problem.
I do find Infinite Grind game extremely fun. That is just like a very fun time. Once you get past that turn 1-2, it's a blast to be piloting it. I think you have played Bystial more than I have, if I'm being honest. I've only played it in Bystial Runick. That was the most Bystial experience I have.
Okay, well, that's still pretty good though. I think it's somewhere in A when you play the deck and you just face something like Princess, you're like, bro, my cards have no targets. I think that's the only issue.
I think being able to have access to Heavenly Seal too is very nice. And you have to use your interruptions pretty well too. You can't just throw them around willy-nilly. You're not making like a big combo board and just negating 5 cards. You have like pretty specific interruptions. And I think it's pretty cool that you have that diversity among the deck itself. I'm okay with A personally, if I'm being honest. I don't know if you're okay with this. Would you grab the other dragon deck that's in there too? Because I feel like we can just kind of lump these in a pretty close sum. Yeah, with Dragon Link and Bystial Control. Because I feel like they're pretty similar, right? Like they obviously, I would say Dragon Link plays Bystials in there. So I don't know if you would separate these two. I feel like they are both A. That is just my opinion. A lot of skill expression. That's why there's just much skill expression in this in dragon piles altogether.
Yeah, I can definitely see this in A. Do you think any of these A, like the ones in A, could be S though? I personally feel like Dragon Link could be up there. I
agree with you. I do agree with you on that. Because I think Dragon Link, there's so many one-ofs and there's so many different avenues of play you can go down. You're keeping it pretty linear with Bystial. In Dragon Link, you just have It's pretty much you have Bystial with way more options.
Like just watching like DB replays, you can immediately tell who's good at Dragon Link and who's not, because like there's so many different things you can do.
With how many iterations Dragon has had over so many years, it's really. I'm actually surprised I didn't say Essen the first time. Now I'm gonna beat myself up over that. I'm thinking about that.
I think it's probably because you were thinking about the Bystials as part of it.
Yes, I think I was too locked into the Bystial lines and not all the other stuff that can be played in it.
And a good old Swordsoul Moye. If my girl and Moye were drowning.
I think I've definitely heard that somewhere. Oh man, there's a guy at my local who every week he shows up, he's like, I'm just summoning Moye. Nothing changes. I'm gonna be straight up with you. I think Moye mad boring.
Whoa, boring.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Moye is boring, dude. You do the same thing constantly. I know there's some skill expression with the 10 Ys and you can play around certain things. I understand that. But like at the end of the day, you're just going cheat how long young blackout go. That's like 90% of the games.
The biggest part is like whether you go first or second really changes how the deck feels to play. I think going second, there's so many different things you can do, especially when you're like trying to kill someone. Like I said, like with the other the go second deck, there's probably a way to kill someone.
I mean, your cards literally power spike when your opponent has a board between Equasia, the 10 Ys, and Yazi, or not, yeah, Yazi too,
Yazi.
And the level 8 Yang Zing. I'm blanking on the name. That spins 2 away.
Oh, Boxia,
yeah, Boxia, yeah, he's broken too. Like all these cards just get humongous power spikes going second. Yeah, it's weird. You know what? If it loses the die roll, throw it in A. If it wins the die roll, put it in B.
I would say it's more A, cause
that's fine.
Yeah, cause like I mean even like sure, like imperm on Moye going first sometimes ends your turn, but like I think sometimes you could do more than that too. A little bit of Dino action. I think this is a love or hate deck for a lot of people. Where do you lay on the spectrum?
Oh, I'm more of a Dino hater. That's just me. That's just me. Don't hate me.
No, it's okay. It's okay, bro. I'm with you. I hate dinos, bro.
I've mostly been on the receiving end of Miscellaneous Saurus with hand traps in my hand, crying.
Yeah. Even if like you don't have hand traps, like their board is pretty impressive sometimes.
It's crazy. It sucks because I don't like Dino, but like I also understand that we're not doing this of decks that we like. It's how playing it, how enjoyable it is playing the deck.
Yeah.
Which I do think Dino is actually pretty fun to play. I'm not gonna lie. Like when you miss somebody and you finish the game and they drop like it and they show like Ash or not Ash, we'll say like Imperm Veilers and stuff like that. They're like, damn, I couldn't do anything because of that miss. You're like, you're kind of on cloud 9 at that moment. It feels really good.
That is true. I can't deny that.
I'm okay with like top of B if I'm being honest. Piloting wise, specifically piloting.
Yeah.
Receiving end, I'm raging. I'm raging on the receiving end of a dinosaur player.
Yeah, it's definitely only one person has fun kind of deck. Another kind of animal here. Yeah, good old. Are these cats? I think they're cats, right?
I'm pretty sure they're cats.
Okay. For me, I don't think I like Purrely to play. I don't know about you, man.
I'm like torn. You know what this kind of feels like to me? This feels like Swordsoul again, if I'm being honest. This is like going first Purrely, it's very boring. You're just trying to set up Noir. That's all you're doing. Going second, when you're like trying to do like the happy line and like slamming in like a million times with that card, it's really fun. It's really fun figuring out the puzzles and playing through hand traps. But I don't know if I'd put it at A though for that.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a Purrely hater, so I don't know, man.
I think it's like a very skill expressive deck, if I'm being honest. There's a lot going for it. There's a lot of different avenues you can go down. There's a lot of different ways to play your cards and play around hand traps and stuff like that. B feels disrespectful for me for Purrely for some reason. I don't know. I know Purrely can be hard to play. I know it can be hard and rewarding to play. You know what? Put it where you want. This is too stressful. I'm gonna get hate for this. For all the Purrely players are gonna attack me.
No one plays Purrely anymore, so you're not gonna get attacked, bro. You're I think it's like somewhere around here.
As long as it's somewhere close to Swordsoul, I'm okay with that.
This next deck though, if I think you smack talk this deck, I think you might get people attacking you. So you know.
This used to be one of my favorite decks.
Used to, or it's still up there? What do you think? What's your first thoughts?
The Runick took over. Sadly, this deck is just power crept. It's just a power crept deck. The only cards that aren't power crept is like Engage specifically. Every other card is like pretty power crept. I don't know, man. Like Modern Striker like isn't fun because you just get your board broken and just get murdered like every time. So if we're talking modern, I think the deck's kind of like a chore because you just feel like you're trying to survive and not die, and that's just not fun. And most of the time you're dying.
That's true. Ray coming back is not enough anymore.
Yeah, that honestly, that you saying that, I think it was like one of the most important things. Ray coming back used to be really impactful, and then the Bystials attacked, and then Ray was never coming back again.
I don't even think there's any striker players left in my locals. They all disappeared. Do you have any left?
I have that deck. Oh, I mean, not at my locals. No one plays it. I was the striker player at my locals, but it's just in a box behind me, just waiting, just waiting for one day to come back out. If I'm talking modern day, I'm probably enjoying Chimera more. I'm not gonna lie. As much as I'm gonna get hate for this, but I love striker, dude. I really do. But it's just like you're getting bodied so much right now. It's so hard.
All right, good old Vanquish Soul now. I really like this deck. Enough so to like max rarity it. So
oh really?
Yeah. Damn. This is one of those decks that's like where once you get started, you keep playing. Right away, I think it's around like A and B.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's really like, again, this is like another like skill expressive deck. That is what it reminds me of between deck building because of the attributes that you need. Card management of like what you need to keep in your hand and not use. Like sometimes you gotta like hold that ghost spell because you need that earth monster for certain effects. Now that like the list is getting more and more completed, like comparing decks is like, it's like crazy. I'm like, am I really putting Vanquish Soul above Purrely? I'm like, damn, that sounds crazy to me.
I think it's more fun to play Vanquish Soul because like your mental game isn't exact the same as all the other decks because of the attribute thing. So you're always thinking about like, am I okay with this monster dying on the field or do I need this back in my hand kind of thing? Yeah. And it's always like, which ones do I need? Earth, fire, dark, fire, earth. So I think it's like a lot more, I think it's a lot more fun and like, actually sometimes it's even like, can I kill? Because Borger.
Oh yeah, just burn.
Yeah. How do you feel about, I think this is like actually no, it's not our first. I was gonna say our first combo deck, but it's definitely not. So we have good old Mannadium here, part of the infamous Visas line of decks. As much as I like making, you know, Dissipator and Baron and all that, I actually don't think this deck is too fun for me.
I agree with you. I really agree with you. My brief time playing Mannadium, I did not enjoy it very much. Granted, I wish I played it maybe a little bit more because there's probably some more like in-depth stuff I could have learned. It was definitely before the deck was figured out. The time with it, some of the hands felt awkward. You lose to a lot of hand traps. That's also like very frustrating. And there's not really, to this day, there's not a way to solve that problem. A Droll Lockbird still kills a lot of your turns. You can't do anything about it. So I also don't like YouTube combo decks. It's just something I'm pretty against. It's just not, at the end of the day, to me at least, it's not fun. I like being able to switch up my plays. So
but I don't know. I think it's like higher probably than like these three maybe.
I think anywhere in there I'm okay with it.
Good old Tear now.
We're getting into some juicy ones.
Another controversial deck. You either hate it or love it, I think. I don't think anyone's ever been like, it's okay. Everyone's always like, I hated that format. So I guess it would be modern now. Yeah, or current now.
Are you a Tear lover or are you a Tear hater? I want to know.
Well, I played Flunder during Tier format, so that tells you anything.
No, this is actually really funny then. I am a Tier lover, as probably could have guessed already. Not like I super love Tier. I didn't even play Tier in Tier Shizu format. I actually stopped playing it. But I do love the Tier, like how it operates. I think it's a very unique way of an archetype design. For that reason, I would feel disrespectful to myself if I didn't put it in at least A. Like a minimum an A.
I'm not like a Tier hater. I just hated the Shizu cards, to be honest.
I think it's a amusing deck to play, as the Tier list would state.
I think if more came back for Tier, I think it'd be more fun. I don't know, for like recent times, seeing like people playing it, and like it looks kind of rough sometimes, man. Like like sometimes you're just like not playing.
It's definitely inconsistent right now. It's not where it was at all. again, but like when it goes, it's super enjoyable. Super, like, again, a lot of moving pieces. It's kind of like gambling, right? You're milling cards. Sometimes you hit some crazy stuff. Sometimes you mill Mally, Soliak, and Scream, and you're like, oh, I'm living on cloud 9 today.
You know, you're having fun if you're not milling good cards.
Consistency is key.
And now the other tier 0, that is. Good old Snake Eye. I don't know. I'll let you go first on this one. I'm kind of unsure on this one.
I want to ask you, have you played the tier 0 Snake Eye deck or Snake Eye Fire King? Either or.
No. I've only played against it.
Okay. I will say, piloting Snake Eye is sadly very fun. I do really enjoy it. Sadly, again, it falls into that thing where there's a lot of moving pieces. You have so much skill expression because there's like no restrictions. It's completely unfair. I understand that. It's definitely way too expensive, but it is so fun to pilot. I don't know how to describe it. It's just so much extension. Like you have so much extension for like free, pretty much. Not even including Flameberg's Dragon being one of the most obnoxious cards ever printed. You might call me crazy. I think this deck is super fun.
You're thinking up here, huh?
I am a super fun Snake Eye duelist, especially in the like. Even it's one of those decks where even kind of like in tier in this regard, but we're just in the format now where like even the highest tier competitive play of a Snake Eye Mirror is extremely entertaining. Like I don't know if you watched the 3v3 or the Ultimate Duelist series. That was so much fun to watch, even though it was like all Snake Eye Mirrors. But the amount of skill expression and then misplaying and then taking advantage of misplaying and then counter misplaying, it was so funny and so fun to watch. I really, really enjoyed it. I just want to say this. I think it's crazy that Flameberg's is a board breaker, a interruption, and an extender, all in one card. The only thing it's not is a starter. That's all I'm gonna say. That is some card design. That's some wild card design.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not even like you can only special summon it once. Like people are literally special summoning like 3 times in a turn sometimes. I don't know, man. Now we're gonna step back, look at a little Spright here. I have not seen Spright like at all. You probably played a bunch of this, right, with Runick, I'm assuming?
Yes, I actually just got my invite again with this in Philly, the past Philly regional. I just played it because I was just comfortable with it. I wasn't testing fire at the time. This is before the new set though. It was before Phantom Nightmare, so I was able to play Spright Runics and still do kind of well with it. So I did get my invite with it. And it was fun, but the Spright, I'm telling you right now, the Spright cards weren't the ones that were doing the work. They weren't doing the heavy lifting. It was the Runick cards doing the heavy lifting, sadly.
I don't know. It's like I think a lot of people just played Spright because it was good. Or because they wanted to play their deck and they wanted to make it good, so they put Spright in it. Yeah. That's what I felt like. Yeah, we love live twins. How to make it playable? I guess we'll put Spright in.
You want to know how I'll decide this one? I have never met somebody who's like, yo, Sprite's like my favorite deck ever. Those people don't exist. You're not real. They're not real people.
Yeah, I think it's probably somewhere in B for me.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely in that boring tier.
And now this deck is a little bit not as competitive as a lot of these, but this is like super popular like some of the other decks. It's good old Heroes. One of my first decks going back into the game.
There's a lot of people's first decks coming into the game. Many people jump to is Hero. Well, since this was the deck that you came back into with, I'm curious of where you would put Hero.
Where would I put Hero? For a deck like this, I guess it does kind of end on like an auto win board. I think personally it's like going first or second, you kind of do the same thing anyways. Although I do love Heroes, it's not anything to go crazy about. So I think it's like somewhere in the B.
I like the new support that Hero's gotten. I want to start with that. Because I played Hero in like 2015 around Necron's time, and it was just Dark Claw Turbo. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That was just Dark Claw Turbo. And it worked. It did its job, but it wasn't, at the end of the day, it was like a stun deck with a mask on, with a Hero mask on. Now, I'm happy it has things like Sunrise, it can incorporate Plasma. I like all of these kind of different avenues, but they are still limited. The Neo stuff too, I think is really cool. Like you can double pop if I remember right with those. But you are still locked into Hero, like specifically, even with like the million cards that they have, being locked into anything feels not the best, I guess would be the way to put it. So I agree in B, but oh my god, I forgot about Dark Angel too. Oh, no, keep it at the bottom. Keep it at the bottom of B. I hate that
You
card.
forgot about Dark Angel?
I hate that card so much. Oh, why does that exist? Oh my god.
Be ashamed your deck was full of spell cards, eh?
Oh, I just remembered that. Yeah, you can keep put it in C, man. I hate that. You can do Dark Law and Dark Angel me. We got beef. We got mad beef.
I think it's still B though. It's got a lot more to it that you can do, but yeah, I think it
definitely has options. It has options now. I just got a vendetta. That's all. Yeah, I could see it at around Flu. Somewhere around Flu, I think is a decent area for it. That's fine. Yeah, I can accept that.
Okay. The last fire deck of the format. Rescue Ace. There's only one in the top cut of YCS Vegas.
I'm really surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, I am too, because I still feel like set 4 is like pretty strong, but I guess it's not strong enough. I think for like a deck like this, you outplay a lot, like going first and like going second too, because like you go like you said, like play around like a million different things.
So it's funny you say that, because I actually think the existence of Princess made it so not only can you play around everything, you can very easily guarantee playing around everything. And I think that's where my issue lies. And that's what makes it not fun to me.
Ooh.
Just because if you make Little Knight and Turbulence, you can play around like Veiler, Imperm, Bell, like so many different cards, like a million different cards that you can play around. And you don't even have to like think about it. It's just link to Turbulence. That's all you have to do. It's so easy. And it's not like Dragon Link where you kind of got to think about it and maybe change the line. It's not like Snake Eye where you really got to know those lines to know how to play through those hand traps. Same thing with Branded when you're not gimmick puppeting. Runick, depending on whatever million other decks you're piloting with it. I feel like Princess kind of ruined Rescue Ace for me in the fun department. I'm not gonna lie, for technical play wise at least.
So what do you think then, more specifically?
To be honest, I know I just said a lot. I don't really have strong feelings either. I just feel like when you're piloting it, you just know when you can resolve Turbulence, and that's like pretty much it. It's still fun. It's still enjoyable. Do I think it's A tier enjoyable? I don't think so, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy tier a lot more than I enjoy Rescue Ace. I think it's near Purrely. I think Purrely is like around the tier that Rescue Ace is.
Yeah. Looking at it, I'd rather play all the other decks in A than I would play Rescue Ace.
Yes, absolutely. Like if I'm going to locals and I'm just going to have a good time, there ain't no way I'm picking up my Rescue Ace deck over anything in A tier. It's just not happening.
Okay.
Sorry for the race fans out there, but that's just it ain't me. You can go wee woo your way home, bro.
It's okay.
All I care.
They're called the racists, bro.
Oh my god. All right, S tier. I don't think it can stay in that order. I want to know what you're gonna say, and then I will tell you how I feel. And I want to keep this in mind. We're talking current format. I think that's really important here.
Yeah.
Putting the pressure on you here.
If it's current, it would probably look something like this to me. Oops. Like this to me.
Bro, you are right on the money. The perfect way to do it, in my opinion. I think at the end of the day, this is a competitive game. We all play it. At the end of every game, there's a winner and the loser. And you know what's way more fun than losing? Winning. And those two decks definitely have the most winning in them. I think it's Snake Eye and Branded. And as we know in this format, everything else is just behind them. It's not like something like Flu in the top or Kashtira again, where it's just a Rise Heart and Shifter and very bland plays. At least these decks are pretty flashy in what they do.
Yeah, I think A is fine like that.
Okay.
Then,
I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm probably fine with. I think the rest. I'm looking at this.
any last words for the people out there, Jared?
No, I mean, honestly, just thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I like doing stuff like this. I like talking about Yu-Gi-Oh, so this was great. If you like Flu, you know, we have beef, so you can say it in the comments. I'll reply to you. But yeah, no, this is a blast. Thank you for having me. Please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. And yeah, that's about it, man.
All right. Peace out.